Peace, love, and life. It's your girl, Morgan Renee Myers, just tuning in with you all on this terrific Thursday. I'm in a really good mood today. I got my smoothie. I woke up a little late. I was at an event performing last night, Word of Mouth Wednesdays, put on by Word Society. Brother LB, the poet, and his wife Ellie B, out in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, had a Sistars edition of Word of Mouth Wednesday last night, so it was all women lineup, and it was a really good time. I performed. I did my poem from my book, The Celibacy Chronicles, entitled Vagina OOO, which stands for Vagina Out of Order. And then I also did a poem called Family Matters, which touches on the topic of incest. And then I finished it off with a women's empowerment poem. So that was really fun. But I'm in a good mood today, even though I got back home at like 1 o'clock and I didn't wake up as early as I wanted and go on my walk and stuff. Didn't even really wake up and do my stretching and meditation and all of that like I encourage you all to do. But I'm still feeling really good. About to go see my sewing mentor in a little bit. We're going to create, and then I'm vending later on today. But aside from all of that, I want to go ahead and finish up this book, No Disrespect, by Sister Souljah. I've been reading all the chapters, uploading them onto my YouTube channel. And it's just a very good book. It's an autobiography of her life. And it just, I really, 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 really liked it because she talks from an African-centered space and being someone that grew up starting with a two-parent home, and then when her father fell ill, her mother leaving him and moving into the projects and seeing what the lifestyle was like, being a young woman growing up in the hood, her mother having multiple kids by multiple men after that, and then her youngest sister getting pregnant very young, and then the different relationships that she went through with men in college, and being a social activist, and being open to polygamy, and all kind of interesting things, having a brother that was on the down low attracted to her. So I read all the chapters that she had, and then she has like a little, like she started the book off with a note to her readers, which I really love. So now she has like an ending note to her readers, and I'm gonna just jump right into it. It says, listen up, straighten it out. What are the roots of problems in today's relationships between African men and women? That question and the quest for its answer is the central issue of this book. The question is easy to ask. The answer is hard to find. But the search is essential. Too many of us are in pain. Too many of us are lonely. Sex is everywhere, while true love falls victim to the turmoil of our fight merely to survive. Racism is a disease. It affects whites as well as blacks. It may even be a kind of mental illness, but the effect on black people is greater because we are the victims of it. The effect on whites is severe because it deforms their thinking and gives them a distorted picture of the world. But because the economics of racism is inarguably in their favor, most whites learn to live with it, even to deny it. But we cannot do so. Racism has turned our communities into war zones where we are dying every day. It is black on black hate, which is created by racism and white supremacy, that is killing us. Black people killing black people. An African male-female relationship survive in America? Not if black-on-black love is dead. Not if we are still too scared to admit there's a problem while our families fall apart. Not if our young men continue to refer to young women as bitches, or other young women refer to men as motherfuckers, or all of us refer to each other as niggas. It is a sad measure of our profound contempt for each other and of our thoroughgoing self-loathing that we continue to persist in this ugly practice. Listen up. You've read the book. Now it's time for the sermon. My message is simple. Our lives are hard. Here are some rules to love by. Parents are the most influential people on the planet. Even before a child is born, it receives messages and emotions from the mother who carries it. How the father relates to and treats the mother will be felt by the child even in the womb. For example, if the father leaves the mother and she must endure her 9 months of pregnancy alone, the child will also receive messages of depression, anxiety, and abandonment. If the mother hates the father, the child will absorb messages of hate and anger. Make no mistake, everything the mother does, says, eats, and feels will affect the development of the child, its intelligence, and its emotions. It is important for all children to have two parents, a mother and a father. The absence of either will affect the child. The consequence may not be apparent for many years, perhaps not until that child attempts to have relationships of her or his own. But if she has no experience of a father, then she will have had no sound criteria by which to judge a man she might choose to marry. She may also give too much of herself to a man precisely because she had no father, and now values the presence of a man more than she values herself. If a son is raised with no father, he will lack the criteria for understanding what it is to be a man. Instead, he may look toward the guys in the street. Moreover, if a young boy has no father who takes responsibility for his wife and family, then he will grow up to believe that he doesn't need to take responsibility either. Soon, a cycle of abandonment is established. It will be almost impossible to break. Parents must understand that children are smarter than they think. They see and watch everything. It is bad to be a woman who has a lot of men in and out her home. It is bad to be a father who has a lot of women in and out his home. A carousel of lovers causes a child to lose respect for the parent. It also causes a child to get a warped idea of what a true relationship or marriage is. Instead of holding out stability as a worthy goal for a healthy family, such behavior strongly suggests that life is just a sexual merry-go-round. Remember, children will do as you do, not as you say. If you live in a dangerous neighborhood and the majority of Africans in America, as the majority of Africans in America do, you must take the time to explain each and every detail of your life to your child. It does not matter whether you live in the inner city or in the suburbs. The facts of life must be discussed as openly and as candidly as possible. Your child must not be taken by surprise by anything he or she might encounter. Prepare them to survive. Do not assume that the public schools will properly educate your children. Okay? Let me say that again. Do not assume that the public schools will properly educate your children. Now, I'm going to say this from a standpoint of someone who has worked as a teacher assistant in the public school system, and also was substitute teaching prior to that, and then also have worked as a lunch lady in a public school system and hearing teacher banter and kid banter. Do not assume that public schools will properly educate your children, because they won't. Okay, so like I said, as a former teacher assistant, having to be around other teachers, which I wasn't often, but when I was, you just hear nothing but complaints. You hear complaints about how the state is making you test the students. You hear complaints about when students are out because of they shut down school for a winter storm, or after breaks and the children come back dumber than they were before you left them. So now you got to reteach them real quick so that they can take these tests and pass these grades. And then if they don't, it's looked down upon you as the teacher as not having taught them. Then you see the different types of children that come in. As a lunch lady, sometimes we were told to feed some of the children more than once because we knew they weren't eating at home. So the fact that we know some children are not getting the proper nutrients, clothing, love, attention at home, and then they're coming to school, and then these teachers have 20-something kids in their class. One teacher had like 26 students in her class for one teacher, and may or may not have a teacher assistant present. And then you have a multitude of young women and young men. And don't get to like middle school where puberty and all that is starting to set in. That's a huge task for any one person to take on 20-something puberty teenage children. But we as parents are dependent on just sending our children to school and letting them handle teaching our children. No, teaching starts at home. Teaching starts in the womb. Teaching starts at you teaching your child how to count and know their ABCs and all of that. And I personally think homeschooling is the best choice, and I know a lot of people's rebuttal to that as well. I don't know enough to homeschool my child, or I have to work, and it's better than trying to pay for daycare or something like that, and it's against the law to not send them to school. You need to understand and learn your laws for real. You can opt out of sending your child to public schools. There are homeschool co-ops. Find somebody in your community. Post it on Facebook. Hey, who knows something about homeschooling or homeschools in my area? And they can help guide you and lead you in the right direction, and or do your own research. Do some Google studies. But I'm going to go on because I can go on about this all day. Like I said, as I haven't worked as a school teacher, was teacher assistant in the public school system, and that was one of the main reasons why I left. Nobody is happy there. Everybody is stressed, including the children. We there for 8 hours a day, teachers sometimes more, because we have stuff to do after they leave, and it's really a lot of stress. It's really a lot of stress. I really think communal schooling should be an option. Communal homeschooling should be a thing where, just the mothers of the village, we all are responsible for educating the youth. And that does not look like just being in one classroom setting for a day. Yes, we might have times in the day where maybe for an hour Okay, we're going in, we're doing math in this room. Then we're educating them by going out. Okay, you're going to help mama, the elder mama over here learn how to cook some stuff. You're going to help this elder mama do some gardening. You're going to go to the store or to the market and do some vending with this mama. You're going to help with some babysitting practice over here. Do some home economics, do some sewing, do some crocheting. Like, that's how you learn. Like, nobody wants to be in school 8 hours a day trying to listen to these teachers, eating that crap-ass food. I digress. Do not assume that the public schools will properly educate your children. You must teach your child how to use the library. Make sure your child knows where the local bookstore is. Teach your children to question the things they are taught. I grew up hearing, do as I say do. Don't ask no questions, just do what I say do. So, we're not supposed to ask questions. We're just supposed to take what you tell us. We're not supposed to try to understand stuff, is what you're saying? Teach your children to question things they are taught. Encourage them to search out answers for themselves. Take nothing for granted. The education that you give your children out of school is as important, if not more so, than the education they will receive in school. Welfare is designed to keep you trapped. We must abandon the notion of welfare as a way to live or even a way to survive. At best, welfare is something that may help us in a small way for short periods of time. It is up to you to investigate other social programs, both public and private. Any program that offers genuine job training or helps you to develop employable skills is worth taking seriously. Any program that offers you an opportunity to return to school or to start your own business is worth pursuing. Women on welfare have a unique opportunity to raise their children, to spend time teaching them, to enjoy them in ways denied to most working mothers. Use this precious time wisely. So what she's saying is, for those of us that do take on welfare, and we know welfare sometimes allots you housing where it's little to no rent. You might not necessarily have to have a job right away. You get food stamps, so it's like your food and housing is covered. You have these small children, you don't have enough to put them in daycare, or maybe you do get some type of voucher or something like that. Utilize all that free time you have where you're not working, teaching your children, instead of sitting around on the internet and watching cable all day and putting iPads in their hands. Teach them something worthwhile. But I think that's also the consequence of having babies too soon. And it's not to ridicule anybody, because things happen. And sex is a natural, it's a part of nature. It's a natural practice one wants to experience, especially after going through puberty. A lot of us lose our virginity in our teenage years. So, things happen. But when we're not educated about our bodies, when we're not educated about healthy partnerships, and the consequences of procreating and how much that would change your life, and being financially secure or prepared for giving new life, a lot of these things just come up. So it's like, yeah, I am a baby trying to teach a baby, and I don't know shit about nothing, and I done dropped out of high school to have a child. Moving on. Dark-skinned people are looked down upon in America, and not only by white people. Many of us are considered, even by ourselves, to be ugly. The dark woman is insulted and often ignored. So is the black man. Our children are often teased mercilessly, often by other children of color who have absorbed the twisted values of white culture. Parents must teach their children to love themselves, to love the color of their skins. Dark is beautiful. Racism and its terrible effects must be understood and overcome, so that our children do not internalize the enmity they may well encounter as they grow up. Pride in the bodies God has given us is extremely important, especially for women. Women will often tell you there is something physically wrong with you. They may complain about the size of your breast, the shape of your butt, or the length of your hair. Often such complaints are merely a way for men to divert attention away from themselves and their problems. Your main goal, which you should never forget, is simply to do what is necessary to be healthy and fit. You should resist the temptation to alter your natural self by artificially increasing the size of your breast, flattening your butt, or reducing the thickness of your lips. Obviously, if you are extremely overweight, you may have a health problem for which you should seek a doctor's advice. In any event, if you meet a man who keeps complaining after you've begun a relationship, perhaps it's time to move on rather than drive yourself crazy trying to change the body that God gave you. Okay. Men who vanish from time to time are probably guilty of doing something wrong. Don't make excuses for them. They will make plenty of excuses for themselves. If you can't independently verify their alibis, if you have the feeling inside that they are lying, go with your gut intuition. Remember, men will lie. If you let him lie to you with impunity and without consequence, he will do it over and over again. If your man lies to you and you forgive him, give him a very hard time. If he loves you, he will remember the hard time and may not feel it's worth lying to you again. If he does it again, leave. No relationship can revive without mutual respect. Point blank, period. I'm not going to be... something is in my eye, y'all. I flew in my eye earlier, like over an hour ago, and I cannot get it out. Kind of hurt a little bit. Mutual respect. I'm big on that. Like, I was talking to a brother not too long ago. We was moving fast because I felt like we was on the same page with stuff. And we was just all about, some communal stuff. And I was with it. I was feeling it, brother. I was liking him. Excuse me, y'all. Ooh, my eye. Anyways, turned out he was lying about all kind of shit. And when I addressed him about it, he denied it and was lying some more. And I had sources to prove to me that he was lying. And I try not to get upset about it because I understood that, us meeting each other was new, and maybe he was trying not to bring up things from his past. Oh my God, Lord, I'm on live. Please fix my eye. Woo. Okay. Something is like really... Oh my God. Okay. Anyways, back to what I was saying about the young man. So yeah, everything was going smooth for a little bit, and then I just found out he was lying about stuff and just wasn't true to himself, and I just immediately cut it off with him. We had some business to do. I did my part. It was a successful event, and after that I was done with him. And so he tried to call like some months later to ask like, well, why we stopped talking and all this and that. Was it because so and so was telling me stuff and this and this and that? I'm like, no, they was just the source that I needed to help prove some stuff that I already knew. But you did it to yourself. So what she say? If he does it again, leave. No relationship can survive without mutual respect. That's all I'm about. Mutual respect. If we can't be honest and open with each other, you can't tell me how you feel. You can't tell me about what's actually going on. You can't tell me the truth about the amount of baby mamas that you have. You lying saying you got one, but you really got 4. I can't fuck with you. Because we start off on a web of lies, I can only imagine how this is going to go. And I'm not going to continue to be nobody fool. Been there, done that, and I'm not doing it again. So, no relationship can survive without mutual respect. And I'm too good of a woman to not respect me. Even if you think something is going to hurt somebody's feelings, it's best to just let them know how you feel anyway. It's important for women to have a healthy definition of themselves. You should not look to men you meet or to your girlfriends for your sense of yourself, your self-esteem, your role as a woman. You should cultivate your mind, body, spirit, heart, and soul. Doing so will make you even more attractive and increase your intelligence. Hard work will be rewarded, oftentimes in ways that can't be foreseen early on. Be compassionate and loving. Keep your mind balanced. Demand respect and courteous treatment. If you act only in a sexual way, you will be treated like a whore. A man may love your sex, but he will probably not love you, respect your mind, or your spirit, heart, or soul. If you only concentrate on matters of the mind, a man may respect your intelligence, but he will not consider you a sensual person. If you only devote yourself to questions of the body, a man will respond to the sexuality you offer up to him. But he is more than likely to abuse it, to take it, and to run. Remember, even though women say they should be able to wear anything they want, we forget at our peril that we live in an extremely sexual, dangerous, and disrespectful world. You cannot afford to act stupid. Society is savage. Act smart. Don't end up crying and hurt. Men, for their part, must learn how to properly look at a woman. Hollywood and Madison Avenue encourage men only to focus on women as physical objects or even particular portions of a woman's anatomy, legs, breasts, ass, and so on. Men must begin to look at every woman who they intend to have sex with as the potential mother of his child. They must learn to distrust women who give their sex away. Women who do so obviously do not respect themselves. Sex should be beautiful for both men and women, but it is not something to be indulged in lightly. Like drinking, it can be an addiction. We must exercise discipline over our desires. Oh my God, my Lord, please, whatever's in my eye, get it out. Sex is beautiful. Should be beautiful for both men and women, but it's not something to be indulged in lightly. Like drinking, it can be an addiction. We must exercise discipline over our desire. Sex is fun, but sex is dangerous. Be careful and be prepared. Kimba, I knew you was going to say that, girl. I knew it as I was reading it. I was about to say, I know you don't agree. Oh, God. This is Sister Souljah standpoint. Women, like men, play games. Many men are locked up in prison today because they took some silly woman seriously. Some women get off on the drama of seeing several men fight over them. Perhaps it fulfills some perverse fantasy, but men make a terrible mistake when they throw their lives away on women who were never really theirs to begin with. Women should not date a girlfriend's man or ex-man. It will ruin the friendship between you and your girlfriend. Some men enjoy pumping their ego up by having sex with their girlfriend's friends. They create bitter wars between the women. He plays you against her. He tells you negative and ugly things about her. Then he turns around and tells her ugly and negative things about you. Both of you stupidly fight each other, thinking you're the one he really wants. The truth, he doesn't want either of you. Probably he has a third girl stashed somewhere else. He finds it exciting to see two of you fight over him. Don't do it. He will make a fool out of you. Don't tell your girlfriends how your man makes you feel in bed. Don't brag about the size of his penis or the way he does it to you. Your girlfriends will become jealous and they will screw your man. Do not go anywhere with the man you do not know. If you do, you may be hurt or even killed. Doing so permits a man to regard you as an idiot only to be sexed and thrown out. Always meet a man in a public place. Find out his telephone number. Find out where he lives. Meet his mother and his father if possible. If possible. What's this mystery figure most men don't know about their daddies? Meet some of his friends. Woo! Find out what he wants in life. Find out if he wants and what. Find out if what he wants and what you want are the same things. Find out what he likes to do in his spare time. Find out his talents and skills. Ask him if he reads. Find out where he works and if he works. Visit him at his job. If he goes to school, visit him there. In the beginning of your relationship, bring someone along with you to meet him. Insist that he meet your family, your mother and father, your brothers and sisters. Make sure your family knows who he is, where he works, and where he lives. This is critical. I get why she says that. It can sound a little crazy, but in these times where people are just getting body bagged, it's kind of important to know, like, who you're around. And if something were to happen, because, like, my mama don't really know crap about nobody I hang with. Mostly because I don't want to keep bringing people home that ain't going to be around long. So, like, she would be clueless if I ended up in a body bag somewhere. I wouldn't know who I was with. I had to go through my phone. I was going to say define womanhood for yourself, but then say we should do this and not do this. What a contradiction. Do not mess with a married man at all for any reason. It does not matter what he tells you. He may say he's getting a divorce. Wait until he gets one before you go anywhere with him. Before you touch him, before you kiss him, even before you have a lot of conversation with him. He would tell you he doesn't love his wife, or he would tell you he does love his wife, but not the same way he loves you. He would tell you that the two of you can be together forever. He would tell you that he's only with his wife because he loves his children. Then he would say he doesn't love her. He would tell you he hasn't slept with his wife for months. No matter what he tells you, don't go for it. Do not mess with a married man. He will take your sex and go back to his wife. You will end up crying and in pain. Moreover, by messing with a married man, you will be helping to destroy a family, an African family, which already is struggling to survive. To steal away with the father of someone else's children is wrong. You will not want it done to you once you get married. Remember, anything a married man tells you is a lie, because after all, he already promised God that he would honor his marriage. If he lied to God, the preacher, the state, and his wife, he will certainly lie to you. Do not believe that same-sex love will solve your problems. You can be hurt in any human relationship. Leaving your man because you have experienced pain only to sleep with another woman will not guarantee that you will be treated more kindly, with greater tenderness, and with more respect. Women are abusers just like men. Confront your inner confusion before you enter into any relationship. Still doing that. Beware of gangsters and macho men of all kinds. Question a society that prizes and rewards men who are seemingly tough but refuse to deal with the responsibilities of leading their families, respecting their wives, teaching their children. A successful black man is someone who has a relationship with his God. He knows he has boundaries and guidelines to live by, who tries to live a moral life, a good life, who understands that he must sometimes refuse to do things that are so hurtful that they violate the spiritual principles on which he bases his life. A real man respects his woman. A real man claims his children, serves as their father and provider. When a real man has difficulty providing for his family, he will exhaust every ethical and positive means of supporting them. A real man seeks to gain mastery over his inner rage and desires. This means he resists enslavement to crack, alcohol, sex, power, or anything that corrupts his soul. Let me say that again. A real man seeks to gain mastery over his inner rage and desires. This means he resists enslavement to crack, alcohol, sex, power, or anything that corrupts his soul. A real man, even in bad times, has life-affirming goals. He makes plans. When some of his plans fail, he refuses to be defeated. He picks up and starts again. This sounds like the words of a woman scorned that has had a lot of bad experiences. She sounds real jaded. She has had a lot of bad experiences. Girl, she was in here dating a guy who ended up being on the down low. She was dating somebody that ended up being married and ain't tell her. She was dating a guy where she was open to being in a polygamous unit, and then met the girl. He ain't tell the girl about her. And he already had another girl on the side that he ain't told the first girl about, and it was a big to-do, and it ended up not working out. So yeah, she has been scorned. And there was many bouts of time in between each of those relationships where she was celibate and like not fucking with nobody. And every time she would give somebody and give her all and give her heart, she got fucked over. Okay, so he makes plans. When those plans fail, he refuses to be defeated. He picks up and starts again. His will must be indomitable, his spirit unbroken. This is not a lot to ask, but he cannot afford to do less if we are to survive and flourish as a people. He must rise to the challenge of our times. It is possible to use your power as a woman to take a man who is doing wrong and help him to become a stronger person with a new outlook on life. It is easier to try to help a brother before you give him any sex. Show him alternative routes. If you need information, go to a bookstore. There are books on every topic. If you cannot afford to buy them, go to the library. Help steer him in the right direction. Learn how to be forceful without arrogance, without talking down. You will be surprised how such an approach works. Have patience. We sisters overlook good men in our community every day. Instead, too many of us fall for the dangerous men who kill, break our hearts, and sometimes our bodies. Avoid them like the plague. When a woman becomes desperate for companionship and love, it is obvious to everyone around her. Is it? She thinks she's fooling people, but she is not. Desperate women can be pretty, unattractive, working women, or college graduates. It does not matter. Loneliness does not discriminate, nor does desperation. A desperate woman tries anything to get a man. She will start wearing provocative clothes that expose her breasts, butt, legs, thighs, shoulders. She will start dating men who she knows are not compatible. She would do so anyway just for the company. She will date a man who physically or mentally abuses her. She will refuse to leave him, even though she inwardly knows she should, because she's desperate and scared she'll be alone again and will have to stand on her own 2 feet. A desperate woman will steal someone else's man and make excuses for it. She will delude herself into believing someone else's man wants her because she is the better choice. The truth is she can't find anyone else and has no confidence she ever will. Such a woman may try desperate tricks like telling a man she's on birth control when she isn't, and so gets deliberately pregnant. Desperate women are capable of anything. Men, beware of desperate women. I believe in God. I believe God is spirit and power, and God lives in the soul of every boy and girl, man and woman. The reason why most of us don't feel we have the power of God inside us is because we are not taught that it is there from childhood, nor are we taught how to use it. We live our lives wondering why we do not have focus and understanding. We wonder why things are the way they are. Some of us wonder why things and conditions don't change. Many young people say there is no God because if there was, things wouldn't be as bad as they are. They give up on life. They neglect the power they have within themselves. When things get worse, they say, see, I told you there wasn't any God. But things will continue to get worse if we don't find a simple way to reach the God in ourselves. God gave us human will. Thus, we have the power to control each and every action we take. God may say, do not steal, but people decide every day to steal. That's human will at work. We will make bad decisions. We will suffer consequences. Sometimes we blame God for the sins we ourselves committed. We blame God for the conditions we find ourselves in, or we blame the racist system we live under, and we are not entirely wrong to do so. But God gave us minds with which to think. Remember, no one will save us but ourselves. Neither God nor white people will do so. But we must first learn to respect ourselves. That is the test we must pass, the promise we must make to each other, the challenge of all of our lives. And that is the end of No Disrespect by Sister Souljah. This is an amazing read. I really appreciate her speaking her truth and talking about the different relationships she had from, as a youth and her mother, and seeing the change from, like I said, having her father around and then him falling ill and then her mother becoming a single mother, moving to the projects, and just that whole lifestyle. Seeing, them a cat call her mother as she walked down the street, seeing the different drug dealers that, came in and like was her mom's protector and boyfriend and that would abuse her, and then seeing how like as her mom got older, she ended up turning to the white man to be her provider and having a mixed baby by him, and then her younger sister getting pregnant early, and her going through college and doing social justice work and having all these different relationships with these men that didn't ever seem to pan out. So I really appreciate it. This was a great read. And if y'all don't know about her, look her up, because I think she did, I know she used to do some rap and stuff back in the day too on different projects and things like that. So all right, that was Sister Souljah, No Disrespect. I got some other books that I'm going to be reading live and uploading on my YouTube. One is called Recapturing the African Mind. And then I'm reading this book called Black Boy by Richard Wright. I'm reading it now by myself on my own. I'll probably end up sharing that on live too, because it's just so good. So many topics to pick out of that. But I love just reading about our people, our culture, and anything to help us understand the type of condition that we're in and how to utilize our thought processes and critical thinking to get out of these situations. Like, yes, white supremacy, which is not supreme at all, and racism does affect a lot of us, but a lot of us have the power to change things on our own. And when you know thyself, when you have an understanding of who you are and the God nature that is within you, that is within all things, you understand that you have a lot more control over your situation than necessary. And if we blend together as a unit, we can get so much more done together as a people. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'm about to go to my sewing mentor house. She got a lot of goodies that I'm gonna be posting that is for sale, and also teaching me how to sew some shit so I can be on my fashion designer tip for real. Y'all make sure y'all get outside, get some sunlight, get some water, get some stretching in. It's beautiful today. All right, peace, love, and light.